Hello, everybody, and happy Easter to you all. It is 10:50 at night here, and yet again, we're talking about the bicycle industry. Today, here we have some interesting news coming from Scott Sports. Recently, around January 16th, there's an article published on Bicycle Retailer that basically talked about Scott taking out a loan of $176 million from themselves, from a company called Young Ones. That basically has a bunch of brands underneath the umbrella, like Adidas, Lululemon, Outdoor Reach, Research, and stuff like that. And when they released this article, it was right around the time that all the other companies out there were talking about their distress. Maybe Giant had bad sales, Canyon had bad sales, so it wasn't really newsworthy of it until today, recently, when another article came out. So basically, just to summarize this, Scott Sports basically took out a loan from its own majority shareholder on there, basically saying, hey, we're not in turmoil, but they wanted money to invest into it. Maybe they're falling behind financially, and this was a pretty big loan, $176 million. 2 months later, March 29th, Scott Sports goes ahead and replaces the CEO to refresh the brand. Which again is pretty crazy because you got to think the CEO was probably one of the guys to go ahead and probably have a good grasp on that deal where they went ahead and took this $176 million loan. So from that time of 2 months to now, they had this whole entire shift where they're basically like, hey, screw it. We got to get rid of the CEO. We got to have a refresh of this company. We got to have something going on. And yeah, so I'll talk to you guys a little bit about what my relationship was with Scott. We are a Scott dealer for almost now 7 or 9 years now, and the product is phenomenal. There's nothing wrong with the product at all. Obviously, every single company has their ups and downs of that, but it really comes into play when you think about Scott as a company. I believe Scott USA is a complete different entity than Scott Europe, and I'll talk about that on their product releases as well. But this, to me, is pretty crazy because the company that just lent out $176 million is kind of just sitting there like, okay, well, we felt good lending money to the CEO, which at the time was Zaug. And now he got replaced by Juwon Kim. But Zaug has been there for a while. And, you know, that's going to make a company feel kind of uneasy, even though they say in its article that they feel there's a lot of trust here. They said express confidence in existing management and employees. And also, Young One has also been around with Scott for a while, so they do believe in the company. Now, there is no proper way to do this. There is no hindsight. This is all kind of just, you know, they're trying to go ahead and gather money to go ahead and invest in things and make themselves better. But my relationship with Scott is, over the time that we've been there with them, they have had really good product. There's a reason why we stay with them for so long, 7 to 10 years. I forget the exact number why. And Scott has always been kind of known as this, not a budget brand, but when I started my channel in 2020 and 2021, the biggest highlight about Scott was that they had better priced bikes than the competition out there. And it still seems to be the norm today. If taking a look at these Scott Foil series, which they just revamped and they relaunched, their price bikes for what the competitors offer in terms of big brands, like Specialized, like Trek, other big brands out there, they seem to be a little bit cheaper than the rest. Just to give you guys a couple examples here, in certain models. But we have the Foil 10 RC, which is Ultegra Di2. This thing's $6,600 with carbon fiber wheels and a carbon fiber bar and a full carbon fiber frame. And across the board, you pretty much see that bicycle with Ultegra Di2 coming right around like 8 or 7.5. So they are cheaper there. Also, they did a tremendous job with Durace models on here. This bicycle is $9,000 with a full Durace Di2 group set. Again, carbon fiber wheels and a carbon bar. And the bicycle is beautiful. The product it looks really, really good. No power meter though, but still really, really good. But then they kind of lose me with this price point of this bicycle right here. This is their Foil RC Ultimate. They're cream of the crop. They have their brand new Silverton 5,000 wheels, which we'll talk about in just a second, with SRAM Red, which is almost like a 5-year group set, for like 15 grand. So it makes a jump from 9 grand to 15 grand, which I don't see the highlight there. That's literally an extra 6 grand going from, you know, a Durace model bicycle, 9,000 to 16,000. But yeah, neither here nor there. So basically what happens with Scott is whenever Scott releases a product, for instance, when Scott released these wheels right here, the Silvertons, Safa Bryan made this crazy marketing video. Scott released this crazy marketing video on their IG basically saying, hey, greatness is around the corner. And these are really cool wheels. Granted, they're hookless, but it is what it is. They're $5,000 wheels, a full carbon fiber, one-piece mold of a wheel set that goes to the spokes, to the hubs, and it's all one piece in there. When they released these wheels, which I forget how long ago it was, I had customers calling me up to go ahead and ask to order them. And this is kind of Scott's MO. Right when they released, the people I called up, they said, Scott, USA, America, or at least my dealers at least, basically said, hey, we have no information on these wheel sets. We don't know when they're releasing, and we don't know when you'll see them. I'm like, okay, well, you just released them on your guys' Instagram saying they're available to order. When can we get them? And still, I have not seen these wheels in my shop yet. I don't even know if any company of Scott has these wheels in America. So I basically took this guy's money at the time for, I think it was like $5,000. I said, hey, you give me the money now, I'll get the order in, and you should have the first one to be in America. Hung up the phone. Then I did some digging myself, went to Scott's website, found the wheel set on their website that day that the rep just said he has no information about the wheels. I go to the website, I pull up part numbers, I pull prices, and I pull up the exact website, and I call back the guy and say, hey, here's the part number for the wheels, here's this, I'd like to order them. He goes, oh, okay, cool, looks like you should get them in December, I think it was, or like maybe January, something like that. And then I place the order, and then basically later on down the road, he calls me back again and says, or emails me back and says, hey, we had to cancel the order, you have to do an order directly with your rep. So it's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of confusion on them. Same with their bikes as well, like these Scott foils. We put an order for these Scott foils when they showed up on their website. These have been here probably for about a month now. These are the brand new 2024 lineup for these foils. Good looking bikes. They sell well in South Florida. But we have yet to see one come in stock. That's kind of Scott's MO, is that they take a while to get them. If you want to order one of these bikes, like let's say you call me right now and say, Grant, I want to order one of these bicycles right now from you. On March 31st, when can I get it? I have $6,500 in my hand right now. And I think their delivery time's like September, and that's an estimation if it's not sold out. And that's a huge no-no. Anyone with $6,500 isn't going to wait around. They're probably going to go ahead and look at other options. Rarely anyone in this world and day and age can go ahead and sit in their hands anymore. And Scott used to be before the pandemic, have a pretty good stock of their stuff. Their Addict RCs were a phenomenal bike for us during the pandemic time as well, but they're coming along, I think 4 or 5 years now. So it needs a little bit of a refresh, but yeah, it's really weird with the company. Like their mountain bikes, they have Nino literally dominating, crushing every single mountain bike race out there. You have Software Bry on the marketing team. You had Cade Media for a while on their bikes. Their product is phenomenal. The Addict Gravel was a huge hit when it launched. Just what's the issue here? I have people calling me and asking me for these bicycles, and people who watch my videos can even attest to this because of the fact of I can't get them. People are like, hey, I like this bike right here. I like to order it. I'm like, dude, I don't even know I can get it. If I didn't put it on my preseason, I wouldn't be able to get it. Now they have stock of their cheaper model bikes. That's not the case. I've heard they have a ton of stock of their cheaper model bikes, but it's just really, really weird. And their warranty as well is great. The people over at Scott Warranty is phenomenal. Talking to them, if you don't get an answer right away, they'll call you back because I think there's only like a couple guys over there. But the issue there as well is because everything's over in Europe for the United States. If you go ahead and you have an issue with like a mountain bike part or a frame part or something like that, and something breaks, we have to order it, and it takes about 2 to 3 months to come from Europe or something like that. It takes like 2 months or a month on a slow boat to get over here from Europe to go ahead and get something warranted out, which is insane. Unless the fact you want to go ahead and unless Scott USA has one in stock from their old frames, but if it's like 2 or 3 years old, they don't keep anything over here in the United States. So just dealing with that, one, it stinks because the customer is usually waiting, but two, the situation does get resolved. So every time that I've had an issue with Scott, though, they've usually pulled through for me. They have Scott Warranty, which I talked to him over there, is phenomenal, and the guys over there, I give them huge kudos. I really just think it needs to be better communication between Scott USA and Scott Europe, and product on hand and inventory needs to be better handled. I don't get why the fact that we need to do a massive pre-season order to even get these things dialed in for us to go ahead and secure our spots for these inventory. I know it sounds really, really selfish of me to say this, but I miss the days before 2020 where these bicycle companies had these bikes in stock. And if a customer walked to my store, and we were looking at bikes. I go, oh, I know the perfect bike for you. You want a bike for the race? Scott Foil RC Pro. Let's go over the computer, take a look at it, $9,000. Let's start talking about it. We got 3 in stock in 49, 5 in stock in 52, 10 plus in stock in 54. Let's go ahead and do it. It's very discouraging, and it stops the sale dead in the water. And stops not even the sale. It stops the hype of the customer going ahead and buying that bicycle. Dead in the water when you hear that it's going to be 3 to 5 months away. No one wants to wait that. So, yeah, it's crazy news articles. We're seeing, I mean, obviously you guys have heard over and over and over again. I've kind of slowed down making these videos because it's really the same thing. You're seeing people report losses time and time again on quarters. People doing the most to go ahead and shutting down stores, taking out loans. But this to me was crazy that literally $176 million was taken out, borrowed from their company, and probably worked out a deal with their CEO, and then literally 2 months later, like, you know what? That CEO is not working. Let's go ahead and get a refresh in here and see what's going on here. So we'll keep a close eye on Scott in the future. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. It is 11 o'clock on Easter Sunday. Have a great week, guys. Absolutely joyous time to talk to you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.